So, good evening everyone. My name is Kirby Katipay and I'm here to continue about to discuss about the Bucor. So, Republic Act 9 number 9263, March 10, 2004. So, an act providing for the professionalization of the Bureau of Fire Protection or BFP and the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology BGMP, amending certain provision of Republic Act number 6975, providing funds thereof and for other purposes. So next slide. So section 1. This act shall be known as the Bureau of Fire Protection and Bureau of Jail Management and Penology Professionalization Act of 2004. Section 2. Declaration of policy and principles. It is declared policies of the state to maintain peace and order, protect life, liberty, and property, and promote the general welfare essential for the enjoyment by all the people of the blessing of democracy. Article 2, Section 5 of the Philippine Constitution. Moreover, it recognizes the responsibility of the state to strengthen government capability aimed towards the strengthening of the delivery of basic services to the citizens through the institutionalization of highly efficient and competent fire and jail services. Next slide. So it is provided for under Republic Act 6975, otherwise known as the Department of the Interior and Local Government Act 1990, that the task of fire protection and jail management and penology shall be the responsibility of the Bureau of Protection BFP and the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology or BGMP respectively. So moreover, Section 3 of the Republic Act number 8551, otherwise known as the Philippine National Police Reform and Reorganization Act of 1998, provides that in times of national emergency, BFP and the BGMP along with the Philippine National Police shall upon the direction of the President assist the Armed Forces of the Philippines or AFP in meeting the national emergency in addition to the performance of their inherent function as mandated by law. So next slide. It is therefore recognized that the uniformed personnel of the BFP and the BGMP as member of the uniformed service of the government under the Department of the Interior and Local Government or DILG are required the same amount of sacrifice, services, and dedication like their counterparts in the PNP and the AFP to carry out their respective duties to the extent of risking their lives and limbs towards this end. The state shall provide for the professionalization and structuring of the BFP and the BGMP by upgrading the level of qualification of their unif- uninformed personnel, uniform personnel, and standardizing their base pay, retirement, and other benefits, making it at par with those of the PNP and the AFP. So next slide. Section 3, Organization and Key Position of the BFP and BGMP. The BFP and the BGMP shall be respectively headed by a chief who shall be assisted by two deputy chief one for administrative and one for the operations. All who shall be appointed by the President upon recommendation of the Secretary of the DILG. From among the qualified officer with at least rank of senior superintendent in the service, provided that in no case shall any officer who has retired as or is retireable with 6 months or from his or her compulsory retirement age be appointed as chief of the fire bureau or chief of jail bureau, as the case may be provided further that the chief of the fire bureau and chief of jail bureau shall serve a tour or of duty not to exceed 4 years. However, that in times of war or other national emergency declared by Congress, the President may extend such tour of duty. So next slide. The heads of the BFP and the BGMP with the rank of this director shall have the position titled of Chief of the Fire Bureau and Chief of the Jail Bureau, respectively. The second officer in command of the BFP and the BGMP with the rank of Chief Superintendent shall have the position titled of Deputy Chief for Administration of the Jail Bureau, respectively. The third of officer in command of the BFP and the BGMP with the rank of Chief Superintendent shall have the position titled of Deputy Chief for Operation of Fire Bureau and Deputy Chief for Operation of the Jail Bureau, respectively. The fourth officer in command of the BFP and the BGMP with the rank of Chief Superintendent shall have the respective position title of Chief of Directoral Staff of the Fire Bureau and Chief of Directoral Staff of the Jail Bureau, who shall be assisted by the Director of the Directories in the respective national headquarters office with at least the rank of Senior Superintendent. Next slide. The BFP and the shall establish, operate and maintain the respective regional office in each of the administrative regions of the country, which shall be respectively headed by a regional director for fire protection and a regional director of jail management and penology with the rank of senior superintendent. He or she shall be respectively assisted by the following officer with the rank of superintendent. Assisted by the superintendent. He or she respectively assisted the following officer with the rank of superintendent: assistant regional director for administration, assistant regional director for operations, and regional chief of directoral staff. So next is section 4, professionalization and upgrading of qualification standard in the appointment of uniform personnel to the BFP and the BGMP. No person shall be appointed as uniform personnel of the BFP and the BGMP unless he or she possesses the following minimum qualification. The first is a citizen of the Republic of the Philippines. A person of good moral character must have passed the psychiatric, psychological, drug, and physical test for the purpose of determining his or her physical and mental health. Must possess a baccalaureate degree from recognized institution of learning. Must possess the appropriate civil service eligibility. Must not have been dishonorably discharged or dismissal for cause from previous employment. So next slide. Must not have been convicted by final judgment of an offense or crime involving moral turpitude. Must be at least 1 meter and 62 centimeters in height for male and 1 meter and 57 centimeter for female. Provided uh, that a waiver for height and age requirements shall be automatically granted to applicants belonging to the cultural communities and must weight not more or less than 5 kilograms from the standard weight corresponding to his or her height, age, and sex. Excuse me. That a new applicants must be less than 21 nor more than 30 years of age except for this particular provision. The above enumerated qualifications shall be continuing in character and an absence of any any one of them at any given time shall be granted for separation or retirement from the service, provided further that the uniformed personnel who are already in the service upon the effectivity of this act shall be given 5 years to obtain the minimum educational qualification and 1 year for satisfied with requirement. So next slide. After the lapse of the time of period for the satisfaction of a specific requirements, current uniformed personnel of the BFP and the BGMP who will fail to satisfy any of the requirements enumerated under this section shall be separate from the service if they are below 50 years of age and have served in the government for less than 20 years or in retired retired the service retired if they are 50 and above and have served in the government for at least 20 years without prejudice in either case of to the payment of benefits they may be entitled to under existing laws. So next slide. Appointment of uniform personnel to the BFP and the BGMP. The appointment of the BFP and the BGMP shall be effective in the following manners. So, Fire Jail Officer to Senior Fire Jail Officer 4. Appointed by the respective Regional Director for Fire Protection and Regional Director for Jail Management and Penology for the regional office uniform personnel or by the respective chief of the fire bureau and the chief of the jail bureau for the national headquarters office uniform personnel and attested by the Civil Service Commission. Fire jail inspector to fire jail superintendent appointed by the respective chief of the fire bureau and chief of the jail bureau as recommended by their immediate superiors and attested by CSA. Next slide. So next is fire jail senior superintendent. So appointed by the secretary of the DILG upon recommendation of the respective chief of the fire bureau and chief of the jail bureau with the proper attestation of the CSC and the fire jail chief superintendent to fire jail director appointed by the president upon recommendation of the secretary of the DILG with the proper endorsement by the chairman of the CEC. Next slide. Lateral entry of officer into the BFP and the BGMP. In general, all original appointments of the officer in the Fire Bureau and Jail Bureau shall commence the rank of Fire Jail Inspector, wherein applicants for lateral entry into the BFP shall include all those with highly specialized and technical qualifications such as, but not limited to, civil engineers, mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, chemical engineers, chemists, ar- architects, criminologists, certified public accountants, nurses, physical therapists, and dentists, while applicants for lateral entry into the BGMP shall include all those with highly specialized and technical qualifications such as, but not limited to, social workers, psychologists, teachers, nurses, dentists, and engineers, doctor of medicine. Members of the Philippine Bar and chaplains shall be appointed to the rank of Fire Jail Senior Inspector in their particular technical service. Graduate of the Philippine National Police Academy PNPA shall be automatically appointed to the initial rank of Fire Jail Inspector. Next slide. Section 7, Professionalization and Upgrading and Qualification Standard in the designation of uniformed personnel of the BFP and the BGMP to key positions. No person shall be designated to the following key position of the BFP and the BGMP unless he or she has met the qualification provided therein. So, municipal fire marshal should have the rank of senior inspector, who must have finished at least second year Bachelor of Laws or earned at least 12 units in a master's degree program in public administration, management, engineering, public safety, criminology, or other related discipline from recognized institution of learning, and must have satisfactory passed the necessary training of career courses for such position as may be established by the Fire Bureau. Next slide. City Fire Marshal should the rank of Chief of Senior Inspector, who must have finished at least second year Bachelors of Laws, earned at least 24 units in master's degree program in public administration, management engineering, public safety, criminology, or other related discipline from recognized institution of learning, and must have satisfactory passed the necessary training or career courses for such position as may be established by the Fire Bureau. So next slide. District Fire Marshal, Provincial Fire Marshal, Assistant Regional Director for Administration, Assistant Regional Director for Operation and Regional Chief and Directoral Staff should have the rank of Superintendent, who must be a graduate of Bachelors of Laws or a holder of a master's degree in public administration, management, engineer, public safety, criminology, or other related discipline from recognized institution of learning, and must have satisfactory passed the necessary training or career courses for such position as may be established by the Fire Bureau. Next slide. District Fire Marshal or the National Capital Region or Regional Director for Fire Protection and Director of the Directorate of the National Headquarters Office should have at least the rank of Senior Superintendent, who must be a graduate of Bachelor's of Laws or a holder of master's degree in public administration, management, engineering, public safety, criminology, or other related discipline from a recognized institution of learning and must have satisfactory passed the necessary training or career courses for such position as may be established by the Fire Bureau. Next slide. Deputy Chief for Administration of the Fire Bureau. Deputy Chief for Operations of the Fire Bureau and Chief Directoral Staff of the Fire Bureau should have the rank of Superintendent who must be a member of Philippine Bar or a holder of a master's degree in public administration, management, engineering, public safety, criminology, or other related discipline from recognized institution of learning, and must have satisfactory passed the necessary training or career courses for such as may be established by the Fire Bureau. Next slide. And Chief of the Fire Bureau should have the rank of Director who must be a member of the Philippine Bar or a holder of a master's degree in public administration, management, engineering, public safety, criminology, or other related discipline from a recognized institution of learning and must satisfactory pass the necessary training or career courses for such position as may be established by the Fire Bureau. Next slide. No person shall be designated to the following key position of the BGMP unless he or she has met the qualification provided therein. Municipal Jail Warden should have the rank of Chief Inspector who have finished at least second year Bachelor's of Law, earned at least 12 units in a master's degree program in management, public administration, public safety, criminology, penology, sociology, national security administration, defense studies, or other related disciplines from a recognized institution of learning and must have the satisfactory passed the necessary training or career courses for such position as may be established by the Jail Bureau. So that's all for this video. Thank you for listening.